Hi, this is Kieran Beech, and you join me with Mark, Managing Director of Pro Skills Coaching and the founding father of the Pro Skills Planner team. Mark, can you just tell us a bit about your history in football?
Yeah, been coaching now about 12 years. Started when I was 17, but been doing Pro Skills for 12 years. Working primarily with primary schools. Moved into secondary schools in the last few years, and basically looking at how to develop young people, how to develop children, giving them opportunities that they might not already currently have, and trying to develop them not just in football but as a whole person.
So, what got you started in football coaching?
I've always played it, and to be honest, the reason I set the business up is that I looked at what was going on and my own experiences as well. And pretty much the English mentality was always to play rigidly and in a position, never be allowed to do certain things to express yourself up to a certain age, and then having been through that system and sort of stopped from doing what you enjoy doing really, and thought I'd set the coaching up and try to do things a bit differently, and so far so good really.
What got you interested in street football?
I think it was about 8 or 9 years ago now. We had a meeting with a guy called Darren Lever, who's done okay for himself, set up the International Street Soccer Association. Me and Darren got together, did a few sessions, had a few meetings, wrote down some ideas. What he's done speaks for itself. He's out in America at the minute, and he's written numerous books and courses and things like that. So me and Darren did it. I didn't fully go for it initially because I was still involved in football at professional level. But in the last few years, I've got into it more heavily and really think that it's a good development tool for the kids.
How do you think it can help kids develop? What has street soccer brought to your session for this?
Yeah, it's just enhanced the skills and the overall development. And I was speaking to various different people over the last few years and met some very nice people. And the culture itself basically means that you can try anything whenever you want to try anything. No one's going to judge you. Doesn't matter what you're wearing, what you look like, who you've played for before. It's all about how you can progress from now. And it's brought together a community from various places around the world. We speak to people from Holland, from Belgium, from South America, from America. Whereas before, really, it was a bit of an English-only type of situation. So it's opened doors in various different countries. But in terms of football development, the kids have progressed more quickly using the sole of the foot, learning the ground moves, introducing the aerial moves and the akkers and letting them experience all these different moves, and yeah, it's been more fun basically.
That's one thing I found that's impressed me is the community and the culture in street football. Do you think that's something that's massively lacking in this country?
Yeah, if you go into, I've been involved in say 6 or 7 different professional clubs whether it's playing or coaching, and the environment in them, apart from the one that I currently work in, hasn't been great, and you're not really welcomed. You have to kind of force your way into it, and it's a lot of who you know and things like this. And if you're kind of not that way inclined, if you're kind of a quiet person, then you don't give them the time of day. Whereas in the street soccer community, we've had Ed Van Gils over here, we've had Daniel Cutting, we've had people like that are involved in this, John Farnworth, and they are genuinely nice people, and I think that comes across where young people are asking for advice, they give it to them. They're not after payment for things like this or anything like that. I think it's just a better environment.
Yeah, certainly I've experienced that obviously myself through what I do, and massive outpouring, support, and I think that's what we lack in this country, is that culture of helping each other a little bit more.
Yeah, I think everybody's out for what they can get really, and I think that if that club's playing against this club, I think there's a rivalry. It's a kind of a culture where we have to beat them rather than we can help them in some way, shape or form. And really our coaching company, our business is around helping as many different kids as possible from whatever background they're from. And again, that's what sport should be about really, but I think that street soccer, because it's come from an organic route basically, I think that's why it brings that, because everyone's the same as everybody else.
Do you feel street soccer is misunderstood in this country as a concept?
It is, yeah. I think people still think that it means you're playing heads and volleys outside, and it could encompass that, and that's what street football used to be. And people say that kids don't play on streets anymore, which I disagree with. I still think people do, but street football, as what we're trying to put across in the game of Planner, is basically an art form in itself, and allows expression and creativity, and it allows all these movements. And basically, we were talking about biomechanics and things like that yesterday with a guy who's very well known and worked with some amazing clubs and people. And he basically talks about using the sole of the foot and the receptors and the neuromuscular pathways and everything else. And street soccer brings all that. And the game of panel itself, for fitness reasons, is probably one of the best things you can do, as you know.
We know.
Yeah, you play that for 15 minutes, and you don't need to do laps of the pitch and everything else, and you're using the ball and learning various parts of your foot. We were saying yesterday, if you don't use the sole of your foot in terms of football development, you're basically halving your chances, halving your development.
Another big thing that you also like is futsal. Obviously, we're here in futsal arena today. How do you think futsal should progress in this country, and what would you like to see from futsal in this country?
Yeah, again, there's a massive opportunity to get the culture right, which I don't think has happened just yet. In terms of young people, futsal, can it be more about skill? Can it be more about rotation of players? But again, organically, can it have that environment? And really, I think it's been more about winning leagues and competitions so far by the looks of things. And I do watch futsal games with kids, and it's very physical. And it's all about, the keeper can go direct very quickly. And really, I think, we should try and set a standard where it's played over a short distance. It's a quick attacking game, but again, looking at skill and strategy and thing, rather than having a big player up front and just throw it to him from the keeper and see what happens. And that's what I've been seeing basically, especially on a local basis. The facilities are there. The schools are kind of coming around to it. We've done a lot of work in secondary schools in Bradford. People know what it is now and how it's played, and the results have been fantastic in terms of the development. But it's not being sustainable in terms of they've not really gone on and progressed. So I don't really think it's looked at as that important as yet, which might change. But I think so far, the game's not being played as it might have been expected.
Last one, trying to throw a tough one in for you. What do you think is essential for developing new players in this country?
I think we need to start by understanding childhood development and how learning can progress from a very young age. People say, what age do you take the kids into sessions? And you're looking at 2.5 to 3, I think, is an ideal sort of age where they can kind of interact with the coach. But it's got to be about letting them play and letting them develop and giving them the maximum amount of touches on a ball from a very young age. And it's not really happening, I don't think, still. There's various pockets of the country where it's happening, but I think there's still an emphasis on positions, passing, playing it in a league or a tournament over can you try and develop some skills that no one's ever done before, and that's what I would be looking at. But again, is it a society problem, or is it a coaching cultural problem, or is it actually taught in any courses that we go on? Do we learn about technique? Do we learn about podiatry? Do we learn about posture? Do we learn about childhood development and things like this? They're not really mentioned. So you've got to go out and seek the information yourself. And if you want to do the best by the kids, which most people do, but do they really go out and educate themselves as much as they can? So again, I think there's still a lot missing compared to other countries around the world.
Thank you for joining me today, Mark. And hopefully we might do this again in the chat, things later down the line. I'm going to film some of Mark's skills now.
If we were looking at setting up the page, if anybody has any development questions or coaching questions and wants to fire them to us, we could do a little video answer or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe in the future we'll do that.
Thank you for joining us today.